Hello and welcome to the Pocket Dimension. I'm AK.
I'm Evan.
I'm Fitz.
And I'm Matt.
We are so excited to bring y'all part one of our new Daggerheart actual play, led by our good friend Austin, who is our game master. And I'm going to stop talking. You start talking. Austin, take it away.
Sounds great. So yeah, my name is Austin. I'm also known as P Jukebox or Porcupine Jukebox or Javelin Entertainment online. We do lots of actual plays over on that channel, so feel free to check us out. But today I am here with the wonderful Pocket Dimension, and we're doing Queen's Light. So Queen's Light is a campaign frame for the upcoming game by Darrington Press known as Daggerheart that is influenced by roguelikes and Soulslikes, most notably being the game of Hollow Knight, which is one of my personal favorites. And it looks to explore a lot of the horror and suspense, the dungeon crawling and the climactic boss battles that those games bring, while preserving the fantastical feel, the focus on cinematic action, and the deep character connection and roleplay that is naturally present within Daggerheart. And so that's the basic premise. Are we ready to jump into things here?
So excited. I love a good Soulslike.
Well, with that, we'll go ahead and jump in. So in a mystical realm, where ancient forests hum with magic and crystal clear streams sing songs of old, the ancient ancestry of fairies was born. A dream of unity had birthed Silkhaven, a radiant set of cities and life woven from the very essence of fey magic and nature's splendor. Nestled underground within the heart of the Veilspire Peaks, at the edge of the ethereal forests of the Gossamer Wilds, Silkhaven became a paradise of unparalleled beauty and safety. Though as all things do, the Fae eventually grew beyond their home, desiring to bring the peace and harmony of their sanctuary to the outside world. Decades of bringing the light of Silkhaven to the far corners of the globe has established many Fae as fearsome warriors or legendary adventurers. However, a few days ago, any and all Fae scattered across the world began to hear these whispers. These whispers on the wind, this song of urgency, the song of home, a song from their queen.
Whispers in the shadow light, Silkhaven's call from darkest night. Winds carry a mournful breeze, return to where you once were free. Wings of silver, blades of grass, ancient magic from the past. Come home, Fae of wandering far, embrace the light before it's scarred. Oh, Queen of Fae, your voice a song. Come home, where you belong. Through the tangled woods and mist, heed her call, you can't resist.
Now, night has fallen over the Gossamer Wilds. You all are gathered here. The air is thick with hum of unseen forest life and the slow, rhythmic rustling of leaves stirring by an unseen breeze. The scent of sweet nectar and damp earth lingers in the cool air and mixes with faint traces of wildflowers that bloom only under the moon's watchful gaze. At the heart of this small clearing, a campfire crackles and glows. Flickering against the dark bark of the surrounding trees, our group of Fae adventurers sit close, their faces illuminating in that flickering amber, their wings folded in quiet comfort. Shadows dance across their features as they take turns spinning tales. Beyond the fire's light, the wilds breathe in hushed whispers, their ancient magic coiled beneath the roots of woven through the boughs. Tomorrow, the Fae will see Silkhaven once more, the home of their kind, the dream of their queen. But for now, Beneath the watchful glow of starlit branches, they are simply travelers, sharing warmth, stories, and the quiet thrill of homecoming. As we get to our characters here today, let's go ahead and start off with some character descriptions. So if you wouldn't mind, please describe what kind of fae you are, what distinct features you have, any notable garments, weapons, or armaments, things like that. And we'll start off with Selwyn.
Selwyn is a firefly fae. Say that 5 times fast. She has deep brown, almost bioluminescent. She just kind of looks like she's lit by millions of tiny stars. She has these very bright, glowing eyes that whenever you kind of look at them and look back at them, never quite the same shade twice. She's kind of our boho hippie girl. She wears very kind of loose, flowing silken threads in deep turquoises and blues, burnt oranges. She carries a short staff and a shield. And there's something just kind of very light, ethereal about her. Kind of like there's never going to be any way to tie Selwyn down. I think is the best way to describe that.
And next, moving around the fire, Guy, go ahead and describe yourself.
I'm playing Guinevere Lightseeker, aka Guy, and Guy is a moth, and she is pitch black with red hypnotic eyes. You look into them and you just have a hard time blinking or looking away from them. She has a really nice fluffy poof like right around her neck, and she wears a cloak that has the markings on it and a clasp that sort of makes it look like maybe she's a death head moth, but she's not actually a death's head moth. She's just all black, and she's trying to like maybe look a little cooler than she might actually be.
Perfect.
Goth moth. Oh, and as far as like what she carries with her, she has 2 little like nails, almost like railroad spikes that she kind of keeps under her cloak on her hips. Yeah.
Perfect. Nice. And then just kind of lumbering next to Guy is just a massive figure. Maro, would you like to go next and introduce your character?
Yeah, absolutely. Maro is, like you said, an enormous scarab beetle fae. And his chitinous, is that how you say it? His skin is kind of an iridescent blue, green, black color, but he wears this heavy bronze plated armor on top of that, and it's a little bit hard to tell where his chitinous body ends and his armor begins, except that the armor looks ancient. It's really battered and worn, it's scarred. You can still make out that it's covered in these runes, but even they are starting to get kind of worn down, kind of like an old coin, right? Like you can't really read the words on it anymore. He himself also carries a lot of battle scars, and he has these big, deep-set golden eyes that make him look like he's really just hardly ever sleeps. And as a guardian, he of course is prepared for battle at all times. He has a massive tower shield and a long sword, and though his eyes may be deep set, he's always kind of looking around and keeping his eye on the surroundings, even when things are peaceful, making sure that nobody is sneaking up on his friends.
And then finally, kind of at the edge of this fire, in the middle of one of his many stories, Matt, would you like to go ahead and describe Rex for us?
Yes. The one that has not really stopped talking the entire evening is Zarian Rex Septimpunctata Corchelun, who is a ladybug fae, but Rex prefers the term ladybird. Just like Lady Bird better, just so you know. Very ageless, type of small creature. There is a strange wisdom, even though what comes out of his mouth seems very youthful and almost you would think that he might even be making things up as he goes. He does kind of carry himself as always moving, kind of always like gesticulating everywhere with both his arms, his hands, his wings, which are these beautiful sort of phosphorescent, multicolored, shimmery wings that kind of also fold into this shell in the back, which is a ladybird shell, but Rex's black spots on his shell, all of them circular except for one, kind of a birth defect really, but it is in the shape of, instead of a fully round circle, it is in a crescent shape, like a crescent moon. The other things about Rex, patchwork outfit gathered from all parts of his travels. So he's got bells and ribbons. He's not particularly sneaky. He likes the sound of twinkling, tinkling bells that kind of happen all the time. He's got a satchel full of scripts and quills and ink, and then a tiny, sturdy lute also kind of slung. You could tell he's not incredibly good at the lute, but he'll, like, for dramatic edge, he'll just kind of strum a little bit of an out-of-tune chord when he gets to a stopping place in a story. And that's Rex.
Wonderful. And I'd just like to take a moment and thank one of the members of our community, Cozy Cassie, for making all this lovely art for all of our characters. Yes. So thank you so much. But yes, as we are all sitting here around this fire, and Rex is kind of in the middle of one of these stories. So one of the cool things about Daggerheart is it's a much more collaborative storytelling game. And so in certain instances, you guys will have a lot more power over the narrative. Hope you can hop right into your improv boots here because I'm going to put you on the spot. So Rex, you're up first. You kind of are telling one of these epic tales because all of our Fae are experienced adventurers. They've been through the ringer here. Can you start to describe a moment of heroic success over some kind of epic foe or challenge?
Yes. Rex is talking about an artist had come to town to be a guest director in a play that Rex was a part of writing. And he'd come from a big, flashy, beautiful city far, far up north. And so everyone was really excited until this director actually got there. It turned out that he was kind of a joke in every single way. And this director made everyone's lives utterly miserable during the rehearsal for this play.
Perfect. And we're gonna jump into that memory a little bit and get some practice with the mechanics right off the bat here.
We're about to do some shadow work here is what I'm understanding. We're about to actually go into Matt's psyche and to do some shadow work around some past creative art.
That's what I'm here for.
Absolutely. And so, Matt, if you could go ahead and make me a presence roll. Mm-hmm. Now, differently in Daggerheart works with 2d12s, 1 fear and 1 hope. And so go ahead and roll that and let me know if the fear or the hope was higher.
Bing. Oof. So the total is 3. With fear.
Is that with your presence added on?
Sorry, you're right. The total is 5 with fear.
Okay. Wonderful.
Good job, Rex.
Describe to me how he is trying to confront this, we'll call him Count Alato, this mantis director who has come in. Describe how he's trying to confront Count Alato, but maybe not quite as effective as he might, and then we'll kind of put a spin on how that goes from there.
Okay. Yeah, he's on stage, and he has been the playwright, and the Count Alato has been changing everything, words, plot points, and he's also been sort of trying to seduce the lead, the ingenue of the play as well. And so Rex has just been more and more angry, and so there's this scene where he's holding up a priceless vase. He's giving his biggest monologue in this play, and Rex is just giving it his all. And then Alato says, stop, hold, take it back to, and Rex just flips and he takes the vase and he just shatters it in the middle of the stage, like just shards of glass everywhere. And he says, "That's it. That's it." He turns to the assistant director and asks for his rapier, who doesn't really know what to do. And so Rex, that's the first problem. Rex is like, "My rapier." and so the assistant stage manager is kind of like, "I don't know." And so he's like, "All right, never mind." And he leaps off the stage.
At this point, Alato is kind of looking, and he's like, "There's not even a rapier in this scene. What is he talking about?" And as you go to leap towards Alato, your feet kind of slip out under you, and you end up kind of tumbling off the stage, but not making quite the impact you were hoping for. And Alato is kind of stepping up over you and over top of you, kind of looking down. And it's in this moment that everybody kind of listening starts to hear the places where Rex likes to elaborate or adjust the story, perhaps. And maybe this duel that he had was not quite the face-off that he had wanted, but rather him trying to get up the courage to fight this foe. So kind of looking up from the ground, Rex, how are you continuing on with your confrontation with Alato here?
Spoiler alert, he gets his ass whooped, but he kind of looks up and he's like, "You come from afar to the lands north to tell me what to do. I am the playwright of this play. I am the star of this play." And he kind of struggles to get back up, kind of trying to puff himself up as large as he can. But of course, you said Mantis, Count Alato, is still like towering over Rex. And he's just quivering. Every little thing that could quiver, his antennae and his fingers and his hands.
Yeah, Alato just kind of waves his hand. "God, Lune, if you had the fraction of the talent you think you did, we would all be done by now." And just kind of turns his back upon you, kind of moving away. Are you kicking off this? Is this where the duel happens, or how is Rex responding?
Excuse me, Count. Please, I need to speak with you. Would you please join me outside immediately?
You don't think that whatever drivel you have to spill is acceptable here?
I do not want to offend those of a more sensitive nature.
They could not be more offended than by being in your presence.
I will see you outside in the square, sir. And he kind of twirls around and starts walking towards the door.
We kind of turn the page in that moment of the story as you two with weapons in hand face off. And you have this moment here now where Alato doesn't think you as a threat. You have an opening. How are you trying to take it? How are you initiating the combat here?
He's brandishing his lute, and he's just like, "Okay, you wanna come at me? You wanna fight? Let's do this." And he's just kind of spinning around him, taking swipes occasionally. He's just in pure blackout rage mode. He's just furious.
Why don't you go ahead for this one? Let's go ahead and do a strength roll this time and see how it goes.
Yeah. All right, this is a little better. That's a 12 with hope.
12
11 with hope.
So in this 11 with hope, you have this moment. You've got this ability to make a stand here, and this loot, it's a bit of a interesting weapon. And in this rage, just kind of swinging out, you end up clocking Count Alato on the edge of his head. And in this retelling, Rex describes of how he just knocked him across the head, laid him out, and Alato was, "Oh, I'm sorry, Rex, I was wrong. You're so talented and amazing."
Yes.
And Rex, how do you conclude this story?
The story concludes with Rex now somehow taller than the Mantis, even as a lady bird fae, towering over the Mantis, who's just quivering and shaking in fear as he draws his full height and says, "Go back to whence you came, pretender." And with a flourish, kind of turns his head and storms back into the theater. And then he takes over the entire play. He directs the rest of it and writes it and stars in it. And it sells out in 2 weeks. It has to be extended for another 2 weeks. It is a massive, massive success.
And Rex, of course, is acting all of this out by the campfire, going through the motions fully as everyone is kind of sitting by. How did the rest of you react to this story?
I am rapt. I am hanging on Rex's every word, just like, and kind of getting that Rex like needs to be the hero of any tale that he tells. So I'm like, and then what? Oh, and I bet you felt this way when that happened, and like just like gunning for him to tell us more.
What about Guy? How is Guy reacting to the story?
Rex has my full attention. I'm sitting very still and just wide-eyed, unblinkingly staring as I just listen to the whole thing without moving.
Oh, God.
Smiling? Not smiling.
Bleak.
Just totally neutral, but like doesn't blink, doesn't look away, doesn't make any snarky comments, none of that. Just absorbing.
You okay?
Yeah. And Rex is kind of looking out, kind of encouraging others to get into the theatrics here, and looks over to Maro to share the next story. And Maro, this is a bit dramatic for you, but it does kind of reflect something that you can connect with, and the struggle that Rex kind of talked about. It makes you think about kind of some of the struggles that you have gone through, though very different. Can you describe one moment in your past where you had kind of an internal struggle that you were kind of debating or moving through, and how that would manifest into a story?
Oh, sure. Yeah. Well, I know you guys really like hearing the stories of when I was working as a bounty hunter. I don't really like the word bounty hunter, but So there's this one time I had a bounty, and there wasn't much of a description to go by. I knew what town, what this supposed person had been doing to receive this bounty on them, which was basically they were a snake oil salesman, except it was some kind of, they were trying to pawn off magical honey, claiming that it had divine properties, healing and whatever, ripping people off, right, and getting away with it. And so this person had been moving from town to town. So all I really knew about them was that their name was Ricket, with 2 Ks. They were somewhat short of stature, and that they were brazen enough to go about in this kind of red hood and cloak situation, as if that weren't easily recognizable, right? Anyway, I get into town, and it's a very pretty place, and I get to the market. It's daytime, sunny, beautiful, people bustling. I'm just looking around, looking for a red cloak, and pretty much right off the bat, there it is, kind of weaving and bobbing in between the tables in this open air market. I could just see this person dragging this cart behind them. I'm like, uh-oh. And the cart has these little glass containers with this amber liquid in it. I'm like, okay, wow, this is the easiest bounty I've ever had. I got you, Ricket. So I go up and I with my biggest bellowing voice, I say, "You there, Ricket!" And everyone kind of looks around at me, except for the person to the hood, and they just keep going. I say, "Halt! Stop!" And people are just staring. I mean, they're just so confused, right? And anyway, they just keep trotting off, right? So now I'm starting to get a little irritated, right? Okay, because they're not running away. It's not a chase, but they're just not listening to me. So I go up behind them, and I put my hand on their shoulder, and they turn around, and they have a newspaper in their hand, and they just start smacking me in the chest. So I grab Ricket, and I hoist them up into the air, and I just body slam them on the ground, and their cart goes smashing everywhere. Now the crowd is just screaming. They're just screaming in terror. Except for this little old man comes running up to me, says, "What are you doing? What are you doing? That's my grandma Tubin." Like, and I look down, and I realize this is not a goblin. This is an old gnome woman. And I've just body slammed her and smashed all of her honey jars. It's not Ricket. It's not Ricket. And
You
now
smashed our honey jars.
that was the strangest part. That I guess whoever gave me this bounty just had their information crossed, and maybe they confused old Granny Tubin for Ricket. I really don't know. I never found Ricket. But then this town started to get, well, it didn't take too kindly to be body slamming an elderly woman. So they took arms. They took up arms. And it got spicy. Quick. And you guys know I'm not the fastest guy. So I just was trotting out of Harkensburg town, dragging gnomes who were just clinging to me, and they're just beating me with clubs and torches and stabbing me. And wow. It was the worst job. It was the worst job I ever had. Yeah.
And how did Maro respond to these gnomes that were trudging off after him? Was he trying to defend himself here, or was he like trying his best to ignore them?
Oh no! Well, there was no ignoring them. They were on top. They were like, like how kids will like hug your leg and you'll keep walking, and they just you drag them along sort of gently. Well, this just wasn't quite as gentle, but they were holding on my legs and climbing up on my carapace and yanking at my antenna, and they were everywhere. They were just swarming like rats. So no, every time I pulled one off, another would just pop up.
Go ahead and roll me a strength check, and go ahead and add your unyielding defender experience to this. So in Daggerheart, we have these things called experiences, which are different kind of personality traits or different strengths that an individual might have that can allow them to customize and get a little bit of a bonus to a roll here.
Okay. Ooh, okay, that is that's an 11 with hope, plus 2 for unyielding defender, 13 with hope.
Okay. So in this moment, as you are staunchly standing, kind of wading through, tossing gnomes left and right, it is quite the spectacle. And the other Fae kind of watching you tell this story, they're all watching as Maro kind of takes twigs and sticks and tosses them through the forest. And you see as they go a good ways, and you can imagine that gnome being tossed back right into the town that they came from. And while it was a good bit of trudging, no one was ultimately hurt. Your reputation wasn't damaged too much. But it was a little bit of a rough time for you. And now, how does that impact Maro moving forward and how he approaches things?
I don't do bounty hunting anymore. It just was a kind of a means to an end. But after that point, when I was still doing it, you make sure you get all the information, right? Oh, God. Yeah.
Now, inspired by this, as these stories are starting to go around, Guy, you want to get up and you want to get into it and tell something, but you're kind of in this darker space. You kind of have this goth kid mentality, and you can't help but just go into this story about loss or sacrifice, or what is something that kind of came with you and that you kind of still are working through.
Yeah, so during Maro's story, Guy had not moved, except for their head just switched to look at Maro instead of looking at Rex. And then when it comes time for Guy to speak, she puts herself sort of in this like devil-may-care sort of pose, like just sort of slumps a little bit and goes, "Well, back when I was still at the library, I was told of a scroll that was hidden deep within the fireflies." Sorry, nothing weird here, Selwyn. Just spoiler alert. Anyways, so I had to go and get this scroll deep within the firefly encampment, and myself and 2 other moths, also in my same sort of degree field, were given this task to retrieve this scroll in order to graduate. And we make our way, stealthy as all get out. Except for Josephine. She wasn't that stealthy. She really needed to work on it, but, it's not her fault. She was doing... Anyways, we get to the Firefly encampment, and we are darting through the shadows. And as probably you could tell, because I mentioned Josephine, well, Josephine got caught, and her throat got slit by the cultists, the Firefly cultists. But me and Bob, we got in there. Quiet as mice who have no feet, and we grabbed the scroll, and we murdered everybody, and then we got back.
Took a dark turn.
There was some lies in there.
You guys, go ahead. Let's go ahead and have you roll a finesse check here in this story to see how good you actually were at stealthily moving through, and maybe where there might have been some things that you skipped over.
Oh, it's so good. It's with hope, and it is a 19 plus 2, 21.
All of you kind of look at Guy and are just like, there's no way that they're telling the truth, right? Like, where did this come from? We know what they're capable of, but really? And there is just this seriousness, and it's almost like this like flashback in the behind Guy as she begins to re-see these scenes of just emerging from the shadow and moving like a thief in the night, cutting through anyone who stands in your way. And fortunately, it's not quite everyone. It's kind of focused around the goal. And
me murdering everybody was the lie of that. I just wanted to look cool at the end. Yeah. No, what really did happen though was Josephine got her throat slit because she got caught. That was the sad part. But I could tell when I got to the end of the story that just being able to graduate wasn't going to be that exciting. So I embellished and said that we murdered everybody.
Honestly, Guy, I'm still stuck on the fact that your friend... What happened to your friend's body?
Her bones rot and lie where she was murdered.
Okay, all right.
There.
And Fitz, maybe a bit of a peek behind the screen here. Does Guy still struggle with this loss at all? Does any of that still weigh on her?
Oh yeah, it was the first time she ever saw anybody get killed. So like, she's putting a lot of humor and bravado around it, but like, it freaked her the fuck out. Especially because it was like supposed to be this really exciting thing, right? This was like the final exam. You had to go and get this one bit of knowledge, recover it. They know it's dangerous. It's part of the whole deal. But there's still a bit of like a childlike enthusiasm and naivety that went into the mission. Because again, the whole point is to graduate, not necessarily to get paid or because of a higher cause or anything like that. It was devastating in that regard, but Guy hides it with a bit of humor and bravado. And yeah.
How many people have you killed since then?
A lot.
They're very scary. Terrifying.
And now Selwyn, kind of wanting to fill this sort of awkward pause and kind of bring it together a little bit. Can you go ahead and describe a story where you as a group started to bond as companions, kind of how you fill in each other's weaknesses or magnify each other's strengths?
Well, I mean, there was that time that we all almost, or maybe we actually did kind of start a cult. Do you guys remember that? That's one of my favorite stories of ours. Yeah. You know, that weird little sleepy town where like everybody was just clearly like bored out of their skulls, you know? And so we just kind of, we were kind of doing this. It was kind of a night like this where we were just like telling stories around the campfire, and we could kind of tell that the other people, like, they were all coming in and they were listening to us, and like Rex was like really just like in his element that night, and like,
I mean, I was the charismatic leader.
Right, exactly. Like, that's what you do, right? And so, you were just like whipping them all into this frenzy, and like everybody just like felt so safe to finally like come, like, lay down their arms and just like be themselves, because Maro was there, like standing guard, and Guy was there, and Guy was like, like, it's okay to be who you are, like exactly who you are, and unapologetic about it, and I was just like in the back, like, hey everybody, like, the wind doesn't ask permission to blow, so like, y'all shouldn't either. So like, what is stopping you? What is stopping you from just like going wherever, the wind just like takes you, just like being like people on the move, right, man? Right?
Consent, though. Consent.
Yeah, for sure.
I like act first, apologize later.
Like it's like I always say, that's a problem for later Selwyn, right? Yeah. That's a problem for tomorrow me.
Yeah.
And and
Sure.
so like, we had this really good night with all of them, and we like in the next morning like we all woke up and they were like out wandering. And remember that really like the horrible mayor who would like spend all that time like getting them to like go to work and like do your chores, and he wasn't so happy with us. He was kind of mad
Right. Yeah.
about it, that we had kind of like
had
liberated.
a town full of ne'er-do-wells. after
Yeah,
that.
but like,
It was fun while it lasted.
but then like, how like
Oh, man.
we'll see some of those people still like out on the road, and they still kind of think like we're their leaders, like,
yeah.
like, hey, there's those people.
The thing that kind of creeped me out, though, was when we woke up that morning and they were all dressed like one of us.
Yeah.
So there were the Selwyns,
Yeah.
right, and the Rexes, and they like painted their faces red and black.
Which I kind of
and
thought was cute, but...
I only had one. I only had the one.
Well, it's just that your whole situation is it's harder to pull
couldn't
off.
match your
they
size,
couldn't,
my man.
They couldn't get like, I'm a lot. You just like wrap some bed sheets around you and you're pulling a Selwyn kind of a deal. So don't feel bad about that. But yeah, I think that they still think like that they should look. I don't know. But it's kind of funny too. So I kind of go with it. That's one of my favorite like stories.
They still send me a few gold every once in a while.
What?
Yeah,
What,
to
you-
support
Selwyn,
the
can you
cause.
go ahead and can you make a presence check for me?
Oh goody.
They send you money?
a little bit?
Where's
Just
where's my money?
I have a crit. Which is good because I'm a -1 on presents, so it's 2 sevens.
Hey-o.
Lucky sevens.
Yeah, 2 lucky sevens for my first roll of the game.
And so when we get crits in Daggerheart, normally that will mean that you get to clear a stress and gain a hope. In this case, we don't have any stress yet, but you can still gain a hope.
exciting.
And that can tell it. And in this kind of retelling, you do have a considerable effect on these definitely not occultists. And they have had continuing effects on your life, bringing you not only just kind of funds to assist you here and there, but being a safe space to hide when you need it, being a friendly face to welcome you into a town, and you've noticed them popping up more and more and more.
I have. Am I supposed to tell more of that story?
Well,
What do you need to say?
Someone-
It's spreading like wildfire.
it just dawned on me. They were already cultists.
They were just looking for their charismatic leader.
Wow, I'm just now getting that. Wow, I feel so stupid. Did everybody else know that they were already a cult?
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, it was we more borrowed
Yeah.
them than. I mean, they were already in the.
Yeah, I think
I'm
that
sorry.
that mayor was like their. What was it? It was like
Uncharismatic
Stillbrook.
leader.
Yeah, but I called him like Mayor, like still boring or something, and like he was their like he was their.
I thought you were going to say something else. Still boring.
Still boring, huh? I bet
boring
he's
after
there
all
still
these years,
boring.
yeah.
But like his people, they're liberated and they're thanking us every day for just like going wherever their feet and their wings can carry them. And how beautiful is that? I love it.
Gian, can I do a perception check to see if there's one of these cult members around us right now?
So it's not actually a perception, but you can roll an
Instinct check. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Instinct check.
Yeah, instinct check. Looking around.
Yeah, baby. That's a 17 with hope. I'll take that hope.
You guys are rolling all sorts of hope here. Very hopeful night within the Gossamer Wilds. You look around and there's kind of fluttering of different creatures through the trees. There's just the cricket noise around that echoes. But you feel pretty alone. This is kind of on the edge of society. Silkhaven was built to be far from anyone who might cause it harm and trouble. And in this moment, you feel like it's just you and your companions. But it's a bit strange because those whispers of that song keep going through your mind, and you're sure that you guys weren't the only ones to hear it. And where are the other Fae? There certainly must be more who are making this journey home.
That is funny.
Is it like a little like
just
too quiet? Is the vibe we're getting?
It feels very natural and relaxing. You all feel this
That's 'cause I
comfort.
popped a gummy.
It's that.
Yeah.
It really is this quiet warmth between you all as you're sharing stories. Like, it feels like that night at the tavern or gossiping over at your best friend's house. Like, it is this pleasant, calming sensation.
I lie on my back and look up at the stars.
I really like you guys. Really glad we're friends.
That was a crazy song we heard.
Crazy good.
Crazy good, right?
Beautiful. Yeah.
I wish I had like a little like pocket device that I could just listen to it on repeat whenever I wanted.
But perhaps I could learn.
Rex, you should totally learn that. It is a banger.
I mean, Rex is just not much of a musician.
Do it. Do it. Just feel it. It's not all about the chops.
Is it close?
it's
Am I
close, yeah.
close?
Keep going.
Who remembers the lyrics to it? I think those are really important.
Whispers
There was
on the
something
wind.
about Silkhaven.
And you gotta go home.
Can't go home?
Gotta go home.
Gotta go home.
Country roads.
No,
Take
that's a
me home.
different banger, I think.
Okay.
And each one of you, as you're kind of thinking back to this song, the different pieces stand out in different ways to each of you, but all of you feel this undeniable pull. The path through the Gossamer Wilds is not very clear or very well traveled, but none of you have questioned for a second which steps you're taking. The path home is always something that has been there and has been known, but this call from the Queen, it is something beyond that. And each of you, you know that you should go back, but there's also other reasons why you want or need to go back.
Maro,
Yeah.
I'm also glad to be in the company of you three, but I don't know a whole lot about your relationship with the city that we're all headed towards. I try not to light anywhere too long, if you know what I'm saying.
I do.
I find the open road to really. The open road is my own. But why? What else do you have there?
I don't talk about it a whole lot.
Oh,
Anyway, no, it's okay. It's just a long time ago. It was a long time ago, and feels like a different life. So I can relate to not lighting anywhere for too long, and the road being your home. That's kind of been my way for a good while now. I wish I could say that I was excited to go home, but I don't know if that's the right word.
may I just say what we might all be thinking? I'm really nervous. I'm really
Thank
just
you.
kind of nervous.
Thank you for saying that. I didn't want to say
yeah.
it, but yes. Yeah, I'm nervous.
Yeah, buddy.
I'm nervous to go home. I do have family there. I do want to see my family, but I'm not sure. Well, I know my sister will be excited to see me, but we'll see how the rest goes.
I just love that these campfire nights have evolved from just me talking and to Maro saying more in the last month than I've ever heard him say.
Has it been a month? I think it's just been 2 weeks, right?
2 weeks, a month.
Well,
It feels like
you know what they say.
we've known each other forever.
Yeah,
Yes.
right. You know what they say.
Time is weird soup.
6 years with you feels like 6 minutes
Yes.
underwater.
Yes. Underwater. I've never been underwater.
Me neither.
I
Really?
have been under the veil of death, though, so I imagine it's kind of the same thing.
Tell me about that. Tell me all about that.
Soupy. It's kind of soupy, I bet.
Wait a minute. Someone say more.
I died a little bit, and then wasn't dead anymore. Have y'all ever heard of astral projection?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
Yeah, so
No.
it's where
What is it?
you're like you teach your soul how to like lift up and out and go explore the world. And so I think it's like a really efficient way to travel. And so like I am a student of, I am practicing astral projection. And so like the very first time that I tried it, I kind of went out into the woods with some of my friends and like it worked. Like I got up and out of my body, but then like I couldn't get back in, and I don't know why. I kind of blacked out a little bit in this liminal space. And I was out for like a really long time and not breathing, which like isn't good.
Oh.
And
Okay. So no one.
So, like-
you weren't murdered.
no one murdered me. But my friends all thought that I was dead, so like they they waited overnight, and when I didn't come back to, they kind of like hauled me back to town and like kind of buried me. And like I don't remember. I don't know. And
They didn't even take you to a morgue first. Just straight to the
just
grave.
straight in, yeah. And so
Service. No weeping and wailing.
Yeah,
just
right.
threw
They were
you
upset.
in a ditch.
Yeah.
yeah, they didn't throw me. I don't want to make
Unmarked
it worse.
grave. Wow.
No, it was very beautiful. And
Very
like they
marked.
had laid like all of my favorite flowers out and like played a bunch of my favorite songs. And it was really like a beautiful celebration of life, okay?
Okay.
But
And
yeah,
Wait,
and
so
then-
your body's there and you're witnessing the celebration of life
No.
outside of
I
your
don't,
body.
I don't remember. Like I remember leaving my form. And I remember not being able to get back into it. Like something was blocking me. Like there was just an iron curtain just
Okay.
down.
So
And
how'd you get back in?
I don't know is the thing.
Okay. Well,
I just kind of woke up.
glad you
Find
did.
out.
You woke up
We'll
underground.
figure it out.
I woke up in the ground.
Oof.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Yeah, didn't love that part. Thankfully it was a shallow grave, so it's fine.
What?
And then
What
like
kind of friends are these?
and
Yeah, tell your
Gee,
friends
not
to
good
dig
friends.
deeper next time, first
They're
of
not
all.
good.
well, I'm kind
Yeah.
of glad they didn't.
No.
And so yeah, so I was like, hey, I'm here, and but like people thought they were seeing like a ghost, and it was like a whole thing. But like we don't have to get into that. But yeah. So like I think I died. I say I died. It's just easier to say I died, like because I don't know. I don't know. But like they said, like I wasn't breathing, and like I stopped glowing, like like when fireflies go, it's like this very like peaceful, like it just like the fire within goes out, and I extinguished completely.
Oh wow.
I bet you didn't charge your crystals right or something.
Oh my God, that's what I've been saying. Thank you. You get it, Guy. I think Guy and I are gonna have to do some research on this. Do you want to like
I think so.
group
Is there
project
someone-
this?
There's like a scholar out there who's got to know what
Gotta.
happened to you, right? But we should. Gosh,
It's okay.
why have you been burying the lead? We should go find this person.
Well, I just thought that the cult story was more uplifting to tell in that moment. The near death experience can be like, like we had just talked about the whole like slitting of throats thing, and I was trying to bring the energy back up.
Oh yeah.
Also, like, I am technically a librarian. It's a degree that I don't use often, but like I do have a library sciences degree. So like,
Oh, I
could.
thought that was a library where you
no,
file books away, and that's just code for
library
killing
with
and
sick
murder.
ass books.
books.
No, like books that you check out
Books.
with a card.
And the card is shaped like a dagger, and you
Check out of this existence.
check out a lot. Yeah, thank you.
Well, yes. And there's also actual books that, like, with the card,
Okay.
you could sign up for free if you're a Silkhaven resident, and you could go and you could check out some of the books in, like, the general section. But, like, if you want to get the good
It's
stuff,
canon now.
Please don't tell me there's not a tax structure in place. And no. I love it.
As you all continue to just share these stories back and forth, you guys haven't known each other that long. You guys have adventured for a long time on your own past, but you guys as a group are relatively new, and these deep conversations are happening more and more and starting to bond you all together. And it goes on well into the night, exploring things that you want to do when you get to Silkhaven, wanting to go track down the library, wanting to figure out what's going on with Selwyn, all of these different threads. But eventually the evening finally does wind down, and you all find the places where you want to nestle in for the night. And Guy, there's just something nestled into your brain. Something about that story that you told, you're just feeling those flashes. That night, that place, the dark shadows, the slit throat. And you remember this warm embrace covering you, that protection that she brought. It was the first time that she ever came to help you, the first time that you ever felt guided. But you still feel that warmth wrapped around you tonight, and it gives you a little bit of respite, even though the dark thoughts plague your mind. Eventually, sleep claims you all, and the evening closes as you are on the edge of the Gossamer Wilds, preparing to enter Silkhaven. With that, we'll go ahead and wrap things up for this portion.